There you go. So here it's going to be a very easy presentation. Okay, and then we're going to be in the computer like I would say 10 to 15 minutes maximum, and then I'll be answering questions on whatever you guys have. Okay, so basically we're going to be talking about the new release of the software, the 4.7.2. Now it's available either in Mac or in PC. I work in PC, but you can do it in any other in the Apple as well. This is myself. I am a dentist, and then I was practicing in Mexico City for about 10 years. Then I moved to Miami here in the United States, and we're doing now only digital dentistry. Then in 2017, I joined Blue Sky Bio, and I've been there trying with the education, and together with Corey Glenn and with all the people in Baron Grotter and all the people in Blue Sky Bio, we're doing like all this. It's a good team to show all the technologies in what we have now for guided surgery, for now crown and bridge, for dentures, for ortho, and of course for cephalometric traces. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is yes, just a little bit of the new software, the 4.7.2, and then we're going to talk about the data acquisition. What is it? Why is it important? How does the scanning works, intraoral or desktop scanning? Which kind of files would Blue Sky Plan accept? Then how can I transport, how can I create a model from a scan? And what's the difference in these two? What is a scan body? How does the scan body works? How do I match a scan body to a tie base? What is tie base meaning? And basically, how are we going to position our teeth, and how are we going to design our crown or slash temporary and emergence profile? Okay. So first of all, if you have, I don't know in which point in time are you guys seeing this webinar. However, it's important that you get to like your hands wet in all the digital dentistry. First thing you need, of course, is a CBCT DICOM file that will give us basically all the bones and cavities of our patients. And then we'll have as well, we need an intraoral or a desktop scan. There's like a ton of brands, all of them very good, and they work just as good. It's a matter that you really train your hands and train your workflow to make it work really good. There are people that use a 3Shape. There are people that use the Omnicam or the Prime Scan or the Emerald or whatever scanner you use. Just it's important that you use it very often. Okay, yes, this is a new technique. This is a new world, and where we're becoming all digital, so that's good. There is another type of scanners as well, which are desktop scanners, where if you're very good taking your impressions, you can continue taking your impressions, your regular impressions, and from there, you can just take it to the desktop scanner. We just finished developing now a scanner, desktop scanner in Blue Sky Bio that it's about $2,500 in pounds. It should be about 2,200 pounds. I don't know. And actually, it's designed in England, so it's pretty cool. What about the 3D printing? So when you're having your scan and you design it, then you're going to have to make it physical, right? So in order for you to make it physical, you need a 3D printer. So it's very important, and I think that this could be a really good subject for another webinar about 3D printing. There's like a ton of very good people now talking about this. This is very good for you guys. And now this is the time where technicians, assistants, or dentists, or whoever is interested in digital dentistry can understand and look at this webinar today. Okay, basically here, what we'll talk about today is before creating a surgical guide or a temporary or whatever, we need to understand the digital workflow. So in the digital workflow, you will have all the time disregarding on what you're doing. You will bring your scan and data acquisition. That's how it starts. Data acquisition can be scan of your patient, scan of your mouth, scan of the face of the patient with a facial scan, whatever, and you will have all these models. Okay, so once that you have all your models, then you will align them together. Once that you align your models together, then you're ready to start designing the restoration or whatever you're going to do. This is when the CAD or the computer-aided design phase comes up into the picture, right? Here in the CAD is in any software that we're designing a restoration or anything or any appliance that we're doing. Okay, we're here in the CAD phase. In the CAD, you can use, of course, Blue Sky Plan. You can use ExoCAD. You can use 3Shape, Sereg, you name it. Okay, but this is where you are in the software. You're creating a restoration on top of your data, on top of your patient, on your virtual patient. And now, once that you're happening, you finish with your design, then you come and you are in the CAM phase. In the CAM phase, basically, is grabbing this restoration or this design that you created, this appliance, and you're placing it somewhere, either in a block or in a disk or in a 3D printer. Okay, so you can start creating the supports or the screws, or actually how are you going to position your crown in your disc so the milling machine or the printer or the 3D printer can start creating this into physical, this digital restoration into physical. Okay. After that, it comes the phase of milling or printing. This is actually when you put to work the machines. And finishing means basically when you take out your 3D printing from your platforms, or when you take out your CEREC crown from your block, okay, that is just a raw portion that just came out from a milling unit or from a 3D printer. And you need to finish everything to make it look like an appliance and to make it look like a tooth. Or in this case, what we're going to do today as an emergence profile. So in order for you to start mastering all the digital workflow, disregarding what you're doing, you need to know all the steps. And from these steps, every time that you are in your learning curve, every time that you do like a mistake or that you have an error, if you have these steps like present in your mind, you will always be able to detect where the problem was and just learn from that experience. Okay, so in order to make the learning curve better, I would say that here you can see the outsource in red. So you can have the scan, the data acquisition, and instead of the CAD and the CAM and even the manufacturing, you can outsource everything. After you have a correct data acquisition, you can start outsourcing your work. So this way you will have a very nice, I would say nice, let me change the word. It's a very precise, predictable, and actually a very efficient way of working with digital dentistry, because you will be delivering a very high quality work to your patient. Meanwhile, you're learning what you're doing. Okay, I know that in the UK you have you have two sources that you can outsource with confidence, which is one, of course, the IDDA lab, and you have another one which is a Mass Studio with Dave Beach. These two, I think, that are like the most predictable that you can get. You will win either if you guys are in the UK and you need to start outsourcing either your surgical guides or any of your digital work. These two labs are really managed by knowledgeable people. So good. Then after you, basically, how does the outsourcing works? You send all your models, they design it, and then after they design it, you will just accept everything, all the treatment plannings, check everything that it's okay, and just receive the finished part. And that's it. Okay. So I'm going to start talking about Blue Sky Plan. In Blue Sky Plan software, you can export and the software will receive either STL objects, OBJ objects, or PLY objects. And we're working now on 3 more. So the thing is that STL, basically, just for everybody to understand, this will be like the regular file that most of the scanners will deliver. Okay, and also you have the OBJ. The OBJ files are a, let's say, an STL, and also it has an JPEG included. Okay, this JPEG included, it will match. It will basically match completely to the STL, and it will look like a picture, like a color model. And you have also the PLY files. The PLY files, these guys have already embedded the color on the scan, and this will create just a color scan, a color topography. I'm sorry, by the way, I don't know why it's pinging up this time like a sound, so I apologize for that. It's uncomfortable, this sound. Okay, so before talking about the titanium bases, or before talking about the crowns on the implants, it's very important that you all know what a titanium base is. Okay, so the titanium bases are basically the abutments, okay, that will work on top of your implant, and these are digitally designed, uh, digitally manufactured, and the most important of everything is that they will have a library, okay, that in the softwares that you're designing, this the minimum thickness and how are the tools are going to actually mill the inside of the restoration, it's always constant and with a very good result. Okay, besides of that, they will be like cylindrical. Most of them will be cylindrical, and they will have an anti-rotation part or geometry just for your restoration, prevent the rotation in there. As well, it will have a, I will divide the tie base in 2 parts. One will be the titanium, will be the prosthetic portion, which will be from the margin on top to the screw channel and all the part that it's all the walls, the parallel walls and everything. So all the prosthetic abutment where the restoration will sit. And I'll have another part of the titanium base, which will be from the margin to the fixture of the implant. Okay, so basically the titanium base will be a implant, will be precise for each implant that you use. Okay, that will have the connection of your implant, and then it will have a perfect margin, and then it will have all the prosthetic part. Good. Why are these guys important? Is because these will have been really tested, like for fatigue tests and cycles that have been working for way more times than any of your patients will ever have. So are they? So a lot of people, they actually talk about the titanium bases not being the most reliable parts. Well, guess what? They are. However, everything, as everything in digital dentistry, as everything in dentistry actually, is user dependent. So if we know how to use the parts, and if we use them accurately, and we know all the, actually, all the necessary parts for this to be an accurate and a successful restoration, then we can be sure that our treatment will be long-term prognosis and very well, successful for a long term. Okay, talking about the titanium bases, we have angled titanium bases. As you can see, these titanium bases are angled. These have a 15-degree angle. These are the Blue Sky Bio, by the way. However, you can have this in many other brands. I will talk about the Blue Sky Bio titanium bases just as making it universal for the people that are new for in this. So as I was talking about, you have the prosthetic portion, which is from the margin to the restoration, okay, coronally. to the margin, and this will have parallel walls, and then you will have this anti-rotational part. As well, you will have below or apical to the margin, you will have all the implant portion, okay, to the fixture. And you can have engaging tie bases, you can have non-engaging tie bases, and you can have even with the full conical connection. For you guys that use the conical connection implants, you'll have the full conical connection for the, I would say, for temporaries, okay, because you cannot control sometimes the rotation or the actually the index of your surgical guides, which we will talk about this later on. Or you have even with half of the conical portion, and this will be also to index if there is any bridge work here, or you're trying to splint more than one implant. Then when you have non-parallel implants, this having less part of the fixture will help to engage better into your implants. Good. As well, you have the straight titanium bases. The straight titanium bases will be all of this. I will not be speaking of anyone of each one. I'm sorry, I will not be speaking or taking time to explain you guys each one in detail. However, you just can see that we have narrow for narrow spaces. This 1.8 color for when you have deep implants, which I really like this because these guys have a very and one nice fluted shape that it's emerging from the fixture, and then you can get it into the profile, or the regular one, which is 0.5 millimeters above the fixtures, so you can start creating your restoration. And these two are again the engaging. Good. So again, are they accurate? Yes, they are. And ignoring the brand, you will have again something in common, which is very important, which are the digital libraries. And I want to stress this because in Blue Sky Plan, we have digital libraries for the scan bodies, right? Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the scan bodies. Okay, scan bodies will basically be how are you going to transfer, how are you going to create a restoration with these tie bases? Well, you need something that it's called a scan body. Scan bodies are these part, these actual, I would say restoration, these parts that they are peak or that they are in a creating a material that it's easily scannable, not metal, as you know, or if you ever had experience with the intraoral scanners. Scanning metal requires either the new generation of scanners or that use powder, okay? And using a scan body is way easier because they absorb the light. They are creating peak or in white or different materials than that they are not like reflecting light. So, and they also have something very unique, that it's the shape of the scan bodies are easy to be taken by the scanners. So in this case, this is the desk scan body. You can see how you have the bowl shape and then the flat portion. So it creates an easy shape to take by the software. And then when you take these to the software, okay, here you can see also the ball on the flat part. When you take this to the software, you have a library of scan bodies that are exactly identical of the actual part. So you will match both models. And that's how you create how you translate all your digital libraries to your physical models, and you start doing everything. Okay, good. So just one more comment here, where in Blue Sky Bio, I am trying to basically delete all the scan bodies. What I'm trying to do now is using every prosthetic part that we have and create that as a scan body. So in this case, in this point in time, now we have the open tray impression transfer, the regular impression transfer that I use for your implants. Now you can scan it, and that will become your scan body. And soon enough, we're finishing now all the rest of the libraries. You will be able to scan whatever, whichever abutment you want in Blue Sky Bio, and as long as you have the 1 or 2 millimeters of that abutment in your intraoral scan, you can use that as your scan body. Okay, so this will be the shape, or this will actually look like the libraries, the scan bodies in Blue Sky Plan in the software. It has a red dot where that part is the most important part that you need to align to your model. Okay, and as well, you need to position your model so you can align both, and that will actually work. The tools that you need to use, of course, either are the straight drivers or the angle drivers. These are in order for you to actually screw your tie base and your scan body to your implant. And basically, that's it. This is for shaping your anatomy. I think that this will be good for another webinar. And the cementation, if you guys are going to use any of these digital restorations and you're going to cement it extraorally, I definitely suggest either of these two cements. The reason is because they're extremely strong, and also they will block out all the metal from the tie base to the restoration. So it is regarding the thickness of the restoration, you will always have a very good aesthetic result. Okay, so I don't think that I need to speak about why the screw retainer restoration will be used for these cases, or why do I prefer it. However, you have a ton of advantages here, because you can, number one, you can access anytime that you want to your restoration, even though after you finished it, and a number of years after that, you can always just access to it, unscrew, give the whatever you need to do. If you need to change the color, if you need to do any changes to your restoration, or to check the inside of the implant, or whatever you need to do, you can always get access to it. And also, you can make sure that if you use these titanium bases and a screw retainer restoration, you will not have a periimplantitis associated with excess of cement into the periodontal tissues. Why? Because you will never cement the restorations intraorally. As well, the most important part for me, it's creating I'll say, okay, an emergence profile. Okay, give the importance that the emergence profile is required in implant dentistry. Okay, and I cannot stress enough how important an emergence profile will be in order to create an aesthetic restoration at the end of the day. So now what I want to do is start showing you guys all the workflow in the software. Okay, and just as a comment, if you guys have a 5-axis milling unit and you want the new version, the development build version of the software, of the Blue Sky Plan software, which we will be able to export the XML construction files. Basically, the XML construction files will be files that will come along with the restoration, with the STL of the restoration. And it will tell exactly to your milling machine where and how to mill the margin and all the internal surfaces of the crown, so you have a successful restoration. If you want this, you just need to send an email to plan@blueskybio.com requesting for the development build, saying that you have a 5-axis milling unit, and we will send it away. Of course, it's free of charge. For the people that don't know, let me just tell you, Blue Sky Bio it's free for download and will always remain free for download and for use, and you will do pay per export. So every time that you use it and that you export an STL file, okay, of a surgical guide, or of a for the ortho treatments or a denture, will always be charging between $11 and $20, which is about 16 to 18 pounds, I think, per export. However, for the crown and bridge module, it's planned to remain at zero cost forever. So if you're using the CAD module in Blue Sky Plan, it will stay and remain free for good. Okay, cool. So let me just get started with the software. In order for everybody to be able to use I'm sorry. In order for everybody to be able to use the same models that we're using today, in the chat here you have the Dropbox link where you can actually download the models, okay, and you can actually make all what we're doing today in the webinar. Okay, so you can continue doing all the workflow. Good. So first step, we're going to open the Blue Sky Plan software. After we open the Blue Sky Plan software, you will go to the Crown and Bridge area. After you go to the Crown and Bridge area, you need to go where it says the tie base. After you go to the tie base, you have three models. Okay, so I have your emergence profile model, you have your lower or opposing, and you have your your scan body model. Okay, in order for you to import all the models, the only thing you need to do is with your left mouse button, you will select all the models together. As you can see, they are shaded together, so you can select them, or with the shift button as well, you can select all of them together at the same time, and you will just click OK. This will import, and this is very important, so you can import all of the models together. So after you import all of the models together, what you need to do is you need to start with the okay, so you need to select either of the upper models or the working models that you will use in this phase. So I'll select the yellow scan body upper model. I'll select as well the orientation of the model, which is maxilla or mandible. Of course, this time it will be an upper, so I'll select maxilla. And in this case, it's a dentated model, so I'll click that it's a dentated. After that, I'll just continue to the alignment. And after the continuing to the alignment, I am now in the Blue Sky Plan 3D view, where I can manipulate my model with my left mouse button. I will be able to rotate my model. With the center mouse wheel button, I will be able to translate my model. And with the right mouse button, I will be able to, if I hold it and slide it, I'll be able to zoom in or out with my models. Okay, so now at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I need to mark, as you can see on the right guide, I need to mark with shift. When you hold shift button and you left click, you will mark it in one point that you need to check which point are you marking. And in this case, I chose the distal buccal cusp of the second molar. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the zoom in a little bit and select the midline in the incisal edge. And after that, I will select the same exact area that I did, but in the contralateral side. In this case, I will grab the same cusp for the second molar. Okay, now it's taking us to another window where if for any reason our model came, instead of being a maxillary model, it came up like swap the orientation. Okay, we can just touch here where it says swap orientation, click there, and that's it. Okay, so after this, we'll just click continue, then here show all, so you can actually mount your model. What you need to see here is that your models are in the same position on the left side of your patient, and that your midline is actually centered. If it's not centered, what you can do is you just move the midline, center it, and you're done. Okay, after you have that, you just click finish. Let me just stress one more thing here. The advantage of importing your 3 models together is that you will be aligning your model just once. Else, it's a longer process. It's also possible, but it's a longer process. And this is it's a huge step for us in Blue Sky Plan because it will take just like seconds for you to align everything. Then you just click finish, and you're having now both of your scans. Okay, so you'll be having here you need always, let me just recap here a little bit. You need, in the Blue Sky Plan software, you will need always 3 models in order for you to create a crown. Number 1 will be your patient with your scan body model. Number 2, you will need your patient without the scan body. Okay, this will show, of course, your gingiva here. Where did you place your implant? And number 3 will have your opposing arch in occlusion. Okay, so the most important part here is that we have them all aligned to each other, which they are now. Okay, number 2 is we are going to hide the opposing and the emergence profile model, and what we're going to do is we are going to move to the advanced or normal in the surgical guide modules. So again, you go modules, surgical guide, normal, or advanced. I'll just go to advanced. Second thing you need to do is you need to, if you don't have these windows that are these perspectives that are the MPR perspectives, you can go always to view, perspectives, MPR. Okay, these will help you to know if your scan body is aligned well or not. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to zoom in to the screen where you have your scan body. Okay, you have to zoom in so you can see the scan body, the flat portion of your scan body, and then you will just click on the buttons of the Add Scan Body. You will click on the Add Scan Body button, then you will look for the library of your implant. So here, this is very important. If you guys are working with an implant company that is not listed here in the scan bodies, okay, here we have now very few, very few companies that we have the scan bodies with. However, you can always ask to your reps that they can send us the libraries, and we will add them at no cost at all, so you can use the libraries. Okay, again, you need to ask your reps for these scan body libraries to plan at blueskybio.com. Okay, so in this step, I will just show you with the Blue Sky Bio parts. You can go, in this case, you can select the scan body, the MIJH, which is the impression transfer. You can select as well the caps for the multi-unit abutments, or the cylinders for the multi-unit abutments, or the titanium cylinders for the multi-unit abutments, or the intraoral scan post that we have. Okay, this is for the multi-unit as well. Okay, either way, you can actually print this part for now. If your tie base is compatible with Cerex, so you can 3D print this part. And if your 3D printer is well calibrated, you will be able to fit it in and scan it, and then just select it as a Blue Sky Bio, and it will work. So now we will bring the MIJH, we'll say okay. And here I will just click on the tie base, left click on the tie base, and the software will try to match everything together. Now you will see that you don't need to do anything else. This will be matching. It will match perfectly, and then the software will ask you for a teeth library, so you can start doing your tooth. You can start doing your crown on top of this. This is how all the what David presented yesterday on the surgical guide presentation, now it makes sense because this is a real crown down approach where you not only are bringing a wax up, but also you're bringing the real restoration to the game. So here, I will just select, let's say the Davids, let's say the Mitchhurst. Okay, so I'm gonna select the Mitchhurst library, and here I will select, this is a left maxillary molar. So let me just check here. Yeah, this is the left maxillary first molar. I will just select OK. This will bring our tooth in, and this is when I will change my model from the scan body model to my emergence profile model. Okay, I don't need the scan body model anymore at all. So here I just check that my scan body is well aligned. If it's not, for any reason, if it's not well aligned, what I need to do is I just need to move this scan body with the widget. Okay, and I can realign it manually. Okay, there you go. There you go. Once that you see that you have overlapping all your parts, it's at the aligning is perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I will just click these buttons in the libraries. You can just in the toolbars, sorry, you need to have activated the visibility toolbar. If you have activated the visibility toolbar, you will have this toolbar option where you will hide your scan body, hide your implants, okay, and you'll just have your tooth. So now what you need to do is you need just to position your tooth in a way that it looks anatomically acceptable. Once that you finish with this, then the only thing that you need to do here is, that's it. It looks for me, so it looks good. So once that you've positioned your crown and you're happy with the shape of it or with the anatomy, now what you do is you just change your module to the crown and bridge. So again, you go module, crown and bridge. After you're in the crown and bridge module, what you need to do now is, number one, you work only on your green model or on your emergence profile model, and then you have in this module, in the crown and bridge module, you'll have 3 panels. So you go panels and then restoration design. Once that you're in the restoration design panel, you'll select crown on a tie base, then the orientation, which is maxilla, and then after the orientation, you will select the model. Which model do I want to create my crown in? I want to create my crown in the green model, okay, on the emergence profile model. After that, I will select the tooth or the crown which I want. If it's just one implant, it will just appear one crown. If it's more, you will select which crown are you doing the restoration into. Then you will create now the tie base, okay? For the tie base, in this case, we're selecting these tie base, which is a non-engaging tie base. And now we'll go to the antagonist here, which will be the lower in this case. Then we'll start, and this will be 5 steps only. Okay, in these 5 steps, number one, I will just grab, as you can see, these screw channels here. I'll just grab the view and I'll position the screw channel right on top of my model. Click set insert direction from view. That's it. The undercuts will be 0, or you can definitely change it to up to 0.20 if you're 3D printing this. Okay, which in this case I definitely suggest for you to 3D print it. Then you will just click next. After you go and click next, what you will do is you will have here the model, and you will have also your interproximal spaces completely. You can see through the crown, okay, and you can see your interproximal spaces. So at this point in time, you will grab the tool size, you'll make it small, and then with if you will hold your shift button and you click and you left click with the shift button pressed, you will mark here your interproximal surfaces. When you mark your interproximal surfaces, you're basically telling the software how do you want the software to create your interproximal contacts. Since we're creating now temporaries, or this is for now for temporaries, and it doesn't matter the interproximal heavy contacts. Okay, so we don't want heavy contacts. That's what you will see next. The software now will create also the emergence profile. So what we need to do now is we have a margin here that it's creating your emergence profile margin. Okay, what you need to do is you need to bring this line a millimeter or half a millimeter sub gingival. Okay, so you will hold your shift button, and then with the left mouse button you can just bring that line down. So again, you hold your shift mouse button, you press, you left you I'm sorry for the English here. Okay, so what you will do in this step, you will hold your shift key, and then with the left mouse button you will do single clicks. If you have areas like this, then what you need to do is keep holding your shift button and then press and hold and drag it, and drag your left mouse button not everywhere, so you can draw your emergence profile. Once that you've done that, you can see how you can draw as well your emergence profile everywhere. Okay, good. So now here we can see that we have a nice margin that is subgingival. Why do I care that if it's subgingival? It's because my emergence profile, my restoration needs to have a margin that comes through the gingiva in order for the restoration to look natural. Okay, so once that you have this, what you're going to do is you're just going to click next, and the restoration will start to be created. Now we're, as you can see we just went through 3 steps before, which it was number 1, setting the insertion direction, number 2, telling the software where are your interproximal surfaces, number 3 was creating our emergence profile. So in this point in time, we will rotate our model, and this will be our emergence profile. The way that I want to create my emergence profile is number 1, always creating a concave area. These blue dots, you just need to pass your cursor through and they will change from blue to yellow. This means that they're active. And this tool is called the global transform tool. So with the global transform tool, you will create your emergence profile the way that anatomically will be the most acceptable. What is so far for the studies, I will definitely share the articles, but so far the studies will they suggest to have a concave area in the periodontal tissues, and then as soon as you're transferring from your subgingival to your supragingival tissues, it will become convex. So first you want the concave area, and then you want a convex area when once that your emergence profile comes through your gingiva. So here we will create now a subgingival subperiosteal emergence profile that is concave, and I want it to be all the time. I want it to be really continuous all the time. So I really need just to make minor movements and then keep rotating until I have something like this. Okay, it's very important to say that yes, this is a model, okay, but this is an ideal model. Okay, so this is how are you going to be more than how do you want to position your implant subgingivally. Okay, so it's very, very important that when you're planning your implants, you plan them 3 millimeters, okay, in your prosthetic envelope. The prosthetic envelope means that from your gingiva or from your, okay, yeah, from your gingiva, you will have 3 millimeters below at least of a of depth, okay, where you will start your implant. In other words, your implant has, from your implant to the gingiva, you will have always 3 millimeters, and this will create your biologic width, and this will create your anatomical width that in order for you to have a good restoration, okay, you will need to preserve. So this is how are you going to crown down, this is how you're going to plan your implants from the crown perspective, okay? And this, of course, is if your patient or if the case allows it, this will be the ideal. Else, you can also create all this, the same principle, having a concave shape area and then convex, okay? But what you do not want is to have a very marked area like this. You don't want any retentive areas when you're planning your restorations, and the reason is because you want nothing to be impinging or to be a food trap when you're doing your restorations. Okay, that's why it's all the shapes that we're talking about. So remember, avoid these shapes, avoid flat surfaces as well, please. And that's it. So after we have this emergence profile created, we'll just click here to create the screw channel. Okay, this is when we want the screw retain restoration. This will be as selected as default in the near future, and then we'll just click next. After that, after the click the next, we'll just go and finish basically all the crown part. So we have now our restoration. Now we have our crown created, and you can use these tools. In this case, I will just use the smooth tool to create a smooth transition between the tooth and the emergence profile. Once that I have that, the only thing that I'll do is I'll just, or you can use as well the local deform tool. For the local deform tool, it's very important that you hold your shift mouse button, and then with when you hold your shift mouse button and the mouse wheel, if you scroll the mouse wheel on front, like forward, you will increase the size of the tool. If you scroll the mouse wheel backward or to the back, you will basically decrease the size of the tool. So what you need to do is, if there is any area, for example, let me just say that you want to make your cusp flowers. So in this case, what we're going to do is we grab the local deform tool and we just grab it. Let's say that you want for your temporary a large interproximal contacts area. So what I will do now, let me just bring the cusp back in. What I'll do now is I'll grab the interproximal area and I'll start getting contact. When it turns red, it's that it has already impinging on the other tooth. Or if you have red on the occlusal surfaces, here says that you're having occlusal contact as well. So let's say that you want to create contact here for your temporaries, okay, and that you want to create here more surface, so you can always do that. Then what you can do is you can also go to your teeth surfaces, show your opposing, and check that you don't have anything or that your crown is not impinging through your blue model, okay? Through your opposing. Good. So now what we'll do at this point in time is we'll just finish the shape. Here in the restoration design, I can just smooth. Now I will suggest you to smooth here all the interproximal surface, as well all the parts that we modified anywhere, and that's it. We'll just click here to finalize, and this will start creating our temporary. So now what we have in this point in time, we have now a crown. We have now a temporary crown for our implant restoration, okay? The software, as you can see, it trimmed all the models. It trimmed the models in the interproximal surface, and also it had the occlusal surface as well to trim it automatically. So you will never have these tight contact areas at this point in time. So what we will do what we'll do now next, we will go to the other panel where it says teeth editing panel. So we'll go to the teeth editing panel, and we'll go here where it says Boolean operations. Once that we're here in the Boolean operations, we'll just select here an intersection. Okay, we'll select the D. D stands for the design restoration. And then the emergence profile model. You can select all the models that you want. However, here we're working only with the emergence profile model. Now what we're going to do is an intersection of both materials. We click apply, and now it will delay a little bit. Guys, thank you so much for being with me all this time today, and I will be showing way more videos in the IDDA channel on how to create all these parts, and it's important that you start practicing with your patients, okay? I will start doing also, I'll do another video of how to create in your models, how to create that emergence profile, the shape, okay, which is very important as well. And I think that that's it. Okay, so let me just show you the new files. As you can see, you can go to the teeth surfaces, and now let's see what we have in here. On the first, this will be positioned in, I'll call it in size. Okay, so first of all, of course, is a crown. Second of all, this will be your emergence profile. This you can actually 3D print it or mill it as it is right now. And what you will do is you will position this in your tie base. You will cement it with temporary cement. If you want, you can fill this up with flow resin or packable resin, whatever you choose. And then all the rest, if you have any other like small files, for example, all these small files that you cannot even see them, you can just delete them, and that's it. So you will have two files. One that is your emergence profile. Yes, you can 3D print this as is it right now, because what will happen is that these parts more than likely will never print. Okay, and if they print, you can just trim them really easy with a burr, so you don't spend more time designing here in the computer. Okay, that is one of the most important things that I suggest when I am doing any design. Is like you want 95% of your final design. The final 5%, you will do it with your hands. Okay, so now what we'll do is just check our emergence profile here. Then the beauty of this is, let me just go real quick to the surgical guide module. The beauty of this is that when I let me bring the implant, let me bring the teeth, and let me bring the model. So let's say that I finished creating my tooth. I finished creating my emergence profile, and let's say that now I want to create what? My surgical guide, right? So here in my panels, I'll go to the implant list first. I'll use the Blue Sky Bio fully guided kit in this case. Okay, I'll just activate my my brown tube or my guide tube. Yesterday they talked a little bit about the offset, which it was the space between the implant and the guide. Okay, between the implant and the guide tube if you're using the metal sleeves. Okay, so it will be all this, the offset, the guide hole diameter, the height. Of course, we don't have here, I was looking for the CBCT, but we don't have it. In the case that we're doing an implant, of course, we need a CBCT, okay? And, but here, let's say that you finish it. This is just an example, okay? You go to your guide fabrication panel, and then you just create your, you can just create your surgical guide. This is just to recap again and to join this with yesterday's webinar. Okay, after you have your surgical guide created, you will deliver to your patient one temporary, one emergence profile, and one surgical guide. And this is what crown down guided surgery means. So thank you guys for waiting, and thank you guys for looking at the webinar. I hope that you liked it. And I think that I will be ready to answer any questions now. So let me just show you what would be the final design. So here, this is your surgical guide, and you have as well all the restorations. So when you go to export data, if you export the surgical guide, here in the cost, it will always cost you 1. However, if you export the teeth, the cost always will be 0. Okay, perfect. So let me just go right here in the chat, and oh, let me answer. So Lamia, the aligning checking part, let me just go real quick. So for the aligning, it's extremely, I know it's it could be confusing because it's so simple. So let's say that you have, let me just hide everything and bring the scan body model back in. So what you need to do is you just need to center your model in a way that you see the flat portion of your scan body. Okay, each scan body will have their own shape, right? What I'm saying here is that you have to select the flat portion or the most marked portion in your scan body, and then what you're going to do is you will click on the add scan body button. After you click on the add scan body button, you will zoom in and check where the red dot is. The red dot will be the matching area, okay, the matching surface. So what you need to do is you need to check this, click OK, and just left click on the scan body model, and the software will try to do the best fit match for this case. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to cancel the tooth, but let me show you real quick this. So here you will have the alignment of your scan body. If for any reason your match is not perfect, okay, then you can manually move it if you think that you need to do this. Okay, again, this will be very unusual to happen, but you will, if it happens, you need to know how to correct it. Okay, so here you just move it. That's it. Now you have your scan body aligned. And it will work. I hope that I answer your question, Lami. Okay. So here, Reza, if using the natural scanner, do you need a full large scan? No, not at all. Not at all. So for any intraoral scanner, not only iTero or the OmniCam, for any scanner, what you need at all is, if you're just doing the crown, you just need like the area or the quadrant that you want. Okay. However, I do suggest, when you're doing surgical planning, that you do full arch scan. I do always suggest it. However, it's not strictly necessary. Okay. But as you know, for the iTero, you need to go to the My Cadence and then export the STL file. Yeah. Sorry, somebody was, I think, Chris.
Sorry, I've just joined you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the webinar. Yes, in response to that question, I agree with Ray. It's basically, you've got to make sure you've got enough occlusion and enough information to design that crown adequately in that occlusion. So, just a partial scan would be adequate for that.
Yeah. So any other questions? It will be great to answer all of this. This was, I wanted to give so much in such a short time that I just tried to bring everything in a nutshell. But if there is any, please just shoot them. I will be more than happy to answer each and every one of the questions.
Ray, thank you so much for sharing your generous knowledge with us today. And it's really nice to see that Blue Sky Bio has so much to offer. And as you say, it's all for free until you can export. It gives you the opportunity to really learn without having to incur any fees initially. And when you're ready, you can move down the route of doing the exports and using them.
Yeah, but just as a comment, Chris, for the crown and bridge will be free.
Oh, yes, you did say that's free.
Zero costs, always. That's not planned on monetizing anytime soon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ray.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if you guys found that very useful, please don't forget to donate towards the charitable cause. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be having further lectures today by Carl Fenwick on digital dentures at 4 p.m. and then again with Doug Watt this evening at 7:30. So thank you, everybody. We'll hang around for a couple of minutes. If there's no further questions, we'll shut down the server. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. So here Lami is asking about the mesh mixer in Smile Design. I don't know if there is anyone soon coming. Chris, do you have any information on that?
Yes, Adam has covered that in the earlier parts, but I haven't really checked the full schedule. I know there's constantly webinars being added, and I know Adam is doing another session on Mesh Mixer. Have a look out for that on the Lecture Palooza. Just go to the website and have a look at the upcoming lectures. I'm pretty sure there will be something in Mesh Mixer and Smile Design.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And if there is any other question, you can always reach at us. And here in the IDDA, as always, thank you guys for having me for the webinar. And that's it. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Cool. Bye-bye.